Welcome to Acez Triple T's episode 8. Today we're going to be going over the top 10 takeaways of the book Extreme Ownership. Now, when we originally started Acez Top 10 Takeaways, I was summarizing the top self-development books in 10 takeaways. Later on, we got feedback from our audience, and now we're doing the top 10 takeaways of anything out there that you could learn in just 10 minutes. Now, today we got another special guest for you guys. It's actually our second special guest that we're bringing on the show, and his name is Tim Berry. He was one of my first mentors and leaders that I had in the organization that I'm in, and he's the one who brought this book upon me. Now, after reading this book, I did take the takeaways and apply them to my life, but there's nobody that's more passionate about this book and that applies these takeaways to their life more than the man Tim Berry. He's a regional vice president. He runs over 100 people, and he's going to be the one today to explain to you the top 10 takeaways of extreme ownership. Be in a peaceful, quiet area and get ready for your life to transform.
Hey, thank you, Ace, for having me today, man. I'm really appreciating the courtesy to reach out to have me come and talk about one of my absolute favorite books, Extreme Ownership: How Navy SEALs Lead and Win. My name's Tim Berry. I'm a regional vice president. I've led salespeople for almost a decade, and as I'm growing up in my leadership career, I'm always looking for something that's going to help me give an edge to make sure that my leadership skills are the sharpest that they can possibly be. And I think that the book that we're going to go over today is just that. Takeaway number 1, extreme ownership. This is the title of the book, and it's probably the overarching philosophy that I think that a lot of folks are going to pick up reading through this thing. It is the most important piece of being an incredible leader inside any organization. This is something that I teach to my guys the minute that they join our team. The leadership is the diff. It lives and dies with you. A great leader has to admit mistakes, own up to their shortcomings, and make sure that they're giving direction even in tough times. Extreme ownership, take number 1. Takeaway number 2, no bad teams, just bad leaders. This is a big one, and this is all about setting expectations and having high standards. If you have low standards with no accountability, what's going to end up happening is those low standards are going to be the bar set for your team. We see it all too often inside of our business where a leader comes in and doesn't actually set any expectations and doesn't have the right standards. And when somebody makes a mistake, they don't double back and make sure to hold that person accountable. A great leader is going to have high expectations, high standards, and when something goes wrong, they're going to double back with that person to make sure that they got the results that they wanted. And if they didn't, there's going to be some consequences. So think about your own life and inside of your own business. How do you set expectations and set the standards for your team? And if somebody makes a mistake, do you accept it, or do you coach them up and have that conversation to make sure that they're learning and growing? No bad teams, just bad leaders. Takeaway number 2. Takeaway number 3, you have to have a strong belief in the mission. And remember, this is about the Navy SEALs, so the mission could be your job. And in this part right here, we talk about making sure that you really believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe in what you do, you're never going to be able to get the people that are following you to see your vision. If they don't see your vision, they're never going to be able to execute at the level that you want them to. And if that happens, what you're going to find is you're going to have a mission that is not going to be seen through into completion. So think about this in your own life, right? Maybe you're doing something that you're not wildly passionate about. Or maybe you're really just trying to fake through it. You got to make sure that you have a really strong belief system in what you're doing and that you genuinely care about the mission. That is a trickle-down effect that will go right to the people that you lead, and they'll follow you through thick and thin. Takeaway number 3, believe in the mission. Takeaway number 4, check the ego. Ego is a huge motivator, and it can drive some of the best leaders to do even more. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But when the ego gets too big, what it can actually do is prevent you from seeing your mistakes that you've made and not able to give you an honest assessment of what you're actually doing inside of your business and inside of your mission. So make sure that when you're assessing a situation, you're not thinking about yourself and you're taking an honest reflection of what's happening inside of your personal business. If this happens and you find that you're not able to overcome that ego and that mindset is about you, you've failed your team. You got to check that at the door and make sure that your ego doesn't get in the way of great decision making. Takeaway number 4, check the ego. Takeaway number 5, the team, the team, the team. In the Navy SEALs, they call this cover and move. As a leader, it's incredibly important to make sure that every single person on your team has a great understanding of what their role is. In the book, they talk a lot about how important it is that every single person on that team has a specific role. In fact, they take it to the extreme. Every person on the Navy SEALs team has specific gear. And when they're on a mission, they rely on that person to have that gear and make sure that they can actually complete the task at hand. So as a leader, it's incredibly important to make sure that every single person on your team knows exactly what their role is and they know exactly how to execute. That's the importance of being a leader. So takeaway number 5, it's all about the team, making sure everybody understands exactly what they have to do, cover and move. Takeaway number 6, keep it simple. Simplicity is key in any organization to make sure that the people that we're leading understand exactly what the task is at hand. If you have a complex plan and you don't make it simple, people will be confused. The second most important thing about keeping it simple is making sure that you have an open line of communication between those that you're leading and yourself. If that line of communication is broken down, folks won't feel comfortable coming to you and asking the questions that is so critical that they need to understand what they need to get the job done. So number 6, takeaway number 6, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Takeaway number 7, prioritize and execute. The Navy SEALs actually have a saying, relax, look around, and make a call. A lot of leaders have a tough time making a decision. And not making a decision is also actually making a decision. There's a saying that we have inside of our business here. Take a look at the fire that's closest to you and put that one out, but also make sure that you're looking around to keep an eye on other fires out there. If you're not keeping an eye on what's right in front of you, what's going to end up happening is that thing's going to blow up. So you got to make sure that you relax, look around, and make a decision. Takeaway number 7, prioritize and execute. Takeaway number 8, leading up and down the chain. And this is actually something that I've implemented in my personal philosophies because I think this is such a great way to lead not just the people that you are directly leading, but those above you as well. A lot of times, folks will be afraid to actually communicate with the folks that are leading them. And that in itself is very, very dangerous. If you're not communicating at a high level with the folks above you, they'll never understand what are needed at the ground level where you may be. For me personally, this is key, making sure that I'm communicating with the folks that are above me so they know exactly what we need on our sales floor to execute at the mission at hand. It's also equally important to make sure that that line of communication, as we talked about before, is open with the folks that you're leading directly. Again, everyone has to know exactly what their role is in the mission. If they don't, it leads to indecisiveness and lack of clarity, which will ultimately lead to lack of results. So, leading up and down the chain, takeaway number 8. Takeaway number 9, make a decision and execute. As a great leader, you're never going to have the ability to get all the information in front of you at the time that you have to make a decision. As a great leader, you have to rely on a few things. Number 1, you have to rely on your experience. Number 2, you have to rely on your knowledge of the situation. And number 3, you have to rely on the folks that you're leading that are giving you the information real time to make a great decision. If you don't have all of those things, it's okay to hold off on making that decision, but it's key that you take the roast out of the oven, as we say here at our organization, and get the job done with the information that you have. Very often, I think that all of us will sit, wait, and we actually have a term for it. We call it analysis paralysis. You analyze things to the point where you can't make a decision. You have so much information, it's hard to make the right choice. In that case, limit that information, take what you've got, rely on the people that you work with, take the roast out of the oven. Takeaway number 9, analyze and execute. Takeaway number 10, the dichotomy of leadership. And I'm actually going to read this right from the book. I think Jocko and Leif nailed this thing. You got to pick up this book. It's an incredible read. So the dichotomy of leadership. A good leader must be these things. Confident, but not cocky. Courageous, but not foolhardy. Competitive, but a gracious loser. Attentive to details, but not obsessed by them. A leader and a follower. Aggressive and not overbearing. Humble, but not passive. Quiet, not silent. calm, not robotic. You must be close with the troops or the people that you lead, but not so close that one becomes more important than the other, or more important than the good of the team. Not so close that you forget who is in charge. You must be able to execute on extreme ownership while exercising decentralized command. A good leader has nothing to prove, but everything to prove. That's the dichotomy of leadership. That's takeaway number 10.
Thank you for watching Ace's Top 10 Takeaways, Episode 8. I hope the top 10 takeaways of extreme ownership from Tim Berry was as valuable to you as it was to me, and I hope you apply everything in your life. Remember, the top 10 takeaways is going to be a channel for you to learn anything in 10 minutes from professionals that are experts in their fields. Spread the content. Anybody you love and care about, share the channel, subscribe, and most importantly, leave any feedback you have below because we're doing this for you.